properties. All right. Okay. So there we go. Another gremlin killed. I didn't even see that one. These things, it's like whack-a-mole. You get rid of one, there's another. But no big deal. I'll fix this in the final edit. So if you just got here, how is the audio now? Let me know if I need to update it. If it's not commensurate with the intro music. It's okay. Now, okay is in okay, or okay is in not okay. We'll just wait just a moment here. Okay, you can hear me now, but I want to know, is it as loud as it usually is? Let me go ahead and go into filters. I'll add gain because the default seems to be too low. Okay, let me go ahead and up this. Okay, it should be a bit louder. See, not low but terrible. No, we want good. We want good here. Volume is good on this end, says Thinkerbell. Roxy says too low. We'll give it just a moment because I just added up, I added on to the gain. Okay, a few more seconds here, and I realize sounds like normal. Okay, perfect, perfect. Let me go ahead and defer back to Lucifer Tim for just a moment, just for my own purposes, so when I archive it, I can start it here, and then, of course, get back into the time and date. There's my cue. February 18th, 2025, 9:42 p.m. Mountain Time. A few minutes late, but we're back on OBS. And my intention is to improve everything all around here. Audio, video, Godzilla noises, whatever it takes. Drink water says, hi IPS, I'm so sleepy. It's 4:40 a.m., but I saw your stream and I had to say hello. Good. I'm glad you could make it. And you can catch the replay, the archive, the video, if you go to ips.monster and get on the newsletter. Archives are available there, all the video and audio. All right, let's go ahead and start going through. There's just so many things to talk about. I've been super busy, but I have been uploading videos for the members. And we'll start with this. I mean, what else is there going on right now besides Trump becoming the Red Hulk? So one of the things we talk about here quite frequently is the overlapping between the fictional universes and what happens on the world stage through the news media. And interestingly enough, there was that incident on 7/13/2024 cementing Donald Trump's role as one of the world's greatest magicians. But assuming it was real, there was an assassination attempt. Well, adjacent to that, there was a release of a trailer for the new Captain America, Brave New World that just came out, and I'm going to go see it. And in the trailer, the president gets shot at while he's in a theater at the podium. And then he jumps to the ground, he survives. And they changed the trailer because it was so close to what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. So that makes our point for us, that the predictive concurrent programming aligning with real world events is intrinsic, it's systemic, it's predictable. So in that trailer, I watched the new trailer, it turns out that this character, played by Harrison Ford, the president, who would correlate with Trump, becomes the Red Hulk, which has to be MAGA in its final form, which is where Trump is right now, declaring himself emperor, declaring himself Napoleon. And that statement he made about how nothing's above the law if you're saving the country, paraphrasing, it's been attributed to Napoleon, to the Christchurch shooter Brenton Tarrant, shout out to PewDiePie, but it's this phrase that has been picked up on by the left as an indicator that Trump is now full-blown fascist and he ripped up the Constitution. You know, the usual stuff they say, Trump derangement syndrome. But interestingly, Elon Musk retweeted that statement with 14 American flag emojis. And the number 14 has some very specific significance, as I've been saying, since we started talking about Elon Musk's role in the movie series The Madness on Netflix. The Madness is about a billionaire who steals the election, finances internet Nazis to commit violent acts. It's obviously based on Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is communicating through a group called The Forge, through its leader, Brother 14. 14 is a reference that the Hitlerites used to this 14-word statement about protecting one's country and securing the future for white children. So the number 14 has very specific significance. So for Musk to throw around the Sig Heil salutes and then the 14, dropping at 14 minutes past the hour, these are dog whistles. And they're Doge whistles. We should start calling them. These are Nazi Doge whistles. I'll put that in the title. It's funny how the MSM is generally so triggerable, and they're so quick to call anybody a racist or a Nazi, and now you actually have one, and they're just like, no, he's just autistic. Well, what about Henderson Solomon, the school shooter, the black white supremacist who shot somebody because of Ye and Candace Owens? Was he just autistic, or was he literally a Nazi? And he said he was inspired by Ye in his manifesto, and since then, Ye has come out selling Nazi swag. And Shopify shut him down, so he's claiming oppression, which is absurd. Again, there's no excuse for a billionaire using some drop shipping company to send out t-shirts. Do it all in-house. He's got that slave on the leash. Make her do it. What's up, Waco Soto? Marcel, thanks for joining. Gondola, Eddie F, Mango Penguins. Let's go. Hero Paranormal, LAC, Jungle Jim, Flozik. And by the way, if you're not a member of the Blue Wrench Lodge here, I recommend it, because when I'm busy, I will be uploading periodically to members only, just to, I keep my ear on Q Street. I keep my finger on the pulse. I like to know what's going on in Trutherville. I'm also paying attention to Woketown, and they're in a panic about this. They really believe that Trump represents some fascist takeover. I mean, the left is terrified, and the ability to tell real from fake is completely compromised. We'll go over some of these examples. But back to Musk. So in The Madness, which is obviously based on Musk, and it's got a few other characters in there we could talk about, but in this series, it's about a billionaire influencing the election and causing, quote, the madness, extremism, and violence. Like the MAGA is basically what they're referencing with this, the madness. And I've been correlating this with disease X, a mind virus. X being the vector for this mind virus that the consensus of the world decides is the reason we need, the pretext we need to censor free speech. And they're building up to this. Now, in that series, the billionaire gets assassinated, and everybody claps. So here we have a TikToker calling for the assassination of Elon, and Elon has actually retweeted this.
On Trump stuff, it's getting to a point, man. It's getting like somebody is going to have to, preferably someone who's already doing it, so one of y'all, but somebody's gonna have to just throw their life away on this one, just kind of take one for the team, just somebody has got to just kind of get in there and go make history. You know who you are. You know who you are.
Now, this is not a PO, not a parody of extremism. On the left, they don't have any POs. POs are uniquely a feature of the right. Right-wing positions are so ludicrous. You have to pay somebody to pretend to believe some of this crap, like Stu Peters, Candace Owens. These are paid agitators. But the left has true believers. And the rank-and-file passive news consumers on the left are fully in line with murdering CEOs. Like, they don't have a conscience about it because they're so married to the power of the state. They're state worshipers. So you can mock the right for their traditional religiosity, but the left is definitely guilty of state-olatry here, collectivism at its worst. And what Musk represents is the power of rich individuals to disrupt entire systems. And he's destroying cyberspace. He's destroyed, in The Madness, the billionaire stole the election. And the lefties are now saying Musk stole the election. So you can see how this is playing out. And again, Musk retweeted this and he said, everybody dies, but not everyone lives. This is something I think JL26 will probably spend some time on it. Cynthia Erivo, who played the Wicked Witch in Wicked, is going to play Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl this summer. So what is the significance of this? Well, this is a world stage character who has kind of caught our attention because of Wicked, The Wizard of Oz, and Oz being a representative of Seattle and the witch EMPing Seattle. So we've been talking about this actress, and she shares Elvis's birthday, which is what piqued the interest of JL26. And at that Rose Parade, which I think went through the Palisades, there was a Wicked float that had some interesting correlations with the Elvis float. So it's one of these side topics, but not really. But what does this mean? Okay, let's continue here. Tinkerbell says, I need your brain, Tim. How did Musk steal 80 million from New York account? I legit don't understand that access. Good question. Musk is also part of this fake space thing. And I said, I will believe this U.S. aid cuts that he's behind, that these cuts mean anything, if he doesn't go after NASA. And the next day he's going after NASA. But the fact that he's part of the space program, he's integrated into the biggest hoaxes of all, means that I don't take anything he does seriously. And from what I understand, this DOGE, this Department of Government Efficiency, is some Obama era institution or structure that they're just renaming. And I think it's mostly just performative cuts. I don't think any of it means anything. Roxy says, Doge reversed his EGOD. That's what Musk says is coming. I've seen him tweet EGOD, and when I was looking into it, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is where he often references the number 42, has this supercomputer at the center of the universe that says that the meaning of life and the purpose of life, happiness, and everything is the number 42. But the idea of this ultimately, this like super intelligent computer at the center of everything ties in with everything Musk has been putting forth. And some have suggested a few things about, I'll probably get into this later on today, but I think Musk is here to introduce this. No one has done more to popularize simulation-ism than Elon Musk. He's actually kind of adopted the persona of Nick Bostrom, and he's proffered the same arguments to make the case that we are in a simulation. Now, for the record, I do believe, well, I know we are in a simulation, but not in the sense that the simulation believers think, as in the simulation theorists. It's really not a theory, but that mentally, our mental construct of the world, for all intents and purposes, is a simulation. And the one that the consensus shares, and we share it to the extent that we don't diverge from the consensus perception of the world as broadcast, it's manipulatable by the power elite. It's a Truman Show in your head. That's the simulation. And if you mistake that, if you mistake the map for the territory, you live in a simulation. But it's just a metaphor. It's not a literal simulation. All right, moving on. Drinkwater says, life is easier when you see both sides as two wings of the same bird. We know the Hegelian game, but doesn't stop others from falling for the trick. Well, we're going through guardrail by guardrail. What is keeping truthers on the right wing in this bird that you mentioned, left, right wing, the political horseshoe? Because the lefties are married to big government. They're never going to leave. But what keeps the right from leaving? And you got to go guardrail issue by guardrail issue. Do they still believe in false flags? Do they still think that SSRIs cause school shootings? Well, then they're still on the map. They're still in the world stage because they still think these events are fundamentally real. They still fall for all the red herrings. And one of the big guardrails that we've confronted as of late has been the anti-vax. Anti-vaxxers are like, hey, why aren't you an anti-vaxxer like us? And I'm like, well, the anti-position puts you in league with morons like Stu Peters, with agitators and fools and individuals designed to make you look crazy. And my take on it is that you don't have to be anti-booze to be a non-drinker. You don't have to be an anti-vaxxer to be a non-vaxxer. Just be a non-participant. But if you take an anti-position on any of these major psyops, you reduce yourself to a pawn on the world stage. And you dilute your critical thinking and your skepticism with the hysteria of the people you're going to surround yourself with. That's why I don't let them on the raft. It's like, no, I'm sorry, if you're Mandela affected, you have to stay in Trutherville. You can't come on the raft. Because if we say, all right, you know what, there's not a lot of us here, we would have a lot more people if we had a bigger tent. Let's let the Mandela affected in. If we did that, rational people would be outnumbered 1,000 to 1. We can't afford that. So no, quarantine is the way forward here, forever. At no point are we building bridges. We're not holding hands. No, we have a chasm here. We have to break away from the world stage. We have to create this third branch of media outside of MSM Plus. And MSM Plus positions are all going to contain you in their paradigm. Drinkwater says, can you go deeper in your baseline philosophy? I agree with the simulation in your head metaphor. All right, so I'm going to have to put this together in post-production. Sorry about that. What happened? Gremlins. No, the truth of it is I'm probably using inadequate hardware. There's just issues, but no big deal. I plan to upgrade everything over the coming few months. But we'll be back. And what I'm going to do is I'll sync these together afterward. All right, let's see who's in the chat here. Salty Siren says, Tommy, are you drunk again? Where's Tommy? I don't see Tommy's comments. Yeah, we're back on. It was just a momentary interruption. Someone asked me about my baseline philosophy. Can we go deeper? No. I mean, we can, but look, if going deeper means embracing subjectivity and solipsism, it's not really deeper. It looks deep, but it's murky. And I'm here to demystify. Some people are like, oh, you're just saying that the government is behind predictive programming? And I'm like, yeah. And they get mad. They're like, no, it's got to be a simulation and a demiurge and the devil. It's got to be some magical ritual by the deep state trying to deflect karmic burdens for the bad things they're about to do. It's revelation of the method. I'm like, no, it's propaganda. It's very subtle. It's perception management. Let's demystify it. But some people want to remain mystified. So when I'm saying that, yeah, as far as the simulation goes, yeah, the simulation is the model of the world that they gave you that is warped. That's it. All right. Okay. King TL. Yeah, if you want to call in, feel free. Just, language. Not that you're a repeat offender in that regard, and I'm not offended by it, but phones are open, 505-510-4226. So let's go ahead and cross our fingers and hope that this stream stays up. Okay, it'll be right on. I did put out a couple of blog posts. The MSM paradigm shift. Have you had it yet? Have you had the MSM minus paradigm shift? Are you still in the MSM box? Infinite Plane Radio.
So we're doing this, Tommy King calling in. I hope I didn't call in too quick, sir.
No, actually, I just opened a phone so you could call in. I apologize for the interruption. We had these little gremlins chewing through the wires, but I'm streamlining things.
It was right when I called in, because the worst part was I haven't went to a FE panel or listened to the Mark Sargent show in such a long time. And I was there in chat, and I was like, oh my God, Karen B. All these old school names were there, right? And I just showed up there randomly. And then I'm like this, tonight we kind of are old G's touching base. And I went on Hoax Wars like an hour ago. And I feel like I'm touching base on a couple gentlemen. And so right when I jumped on yours, I go, oh God, are they chewing the wires? Is my schizo acting up again? How have you been doing?
How is I haven't listened to him. How is Mark Sargent taking the final experiment?
Okay. I had to be I was a gentleman because Karen was there, and I don't think she was there often. And then there's a couple new people, and they had that Deftones guy. Magically, the Deftones guy is the new big celebrity, which is fine with me. I don't care. Was Tim Osmond the OG celebrity? Was
wait.
Osmond,
wait, hold on a second. You said there's a musician from Deftones who went flat?
Yeah, but he went flat. He went flat like years ago.
Yeah, I recall. But you know what? Who doesn't get enough credit?
So that guy,
Shaq. Shaq lost $20 million in contracts. Shaq lost more money over Flat Earth than Alex Jones lost over the Sandy Hookers. Think about that. $20 million.
Is that what they're saying? Good call with that. Is my audio coming in good? Because yours sounds like complete garbage on my end. I can call back in a second. It could be, I'm not saying yours, because on stream yours sounds great, but right now, am I coming through like a human?
You know, actually, after I saw the comment, I bumped your volume up, so your volume's good now.
Okay. And at the same time, we're sounding like we're talking on Mars, whatever you want to talk about. Or say, so that definitely is crazy with the people that can come and go. Idea what we're doing, but so on tonight's stream, let's do current events if you don't mind. I've seen a flipped over. I've seen a flipped over plane within a day, and I'm seeing Zach Hubbard getting murked.
Really?
Is
What?
that anything to do? Do you know anything of these two common events that I've just seen Hubbard getting railroaded for, like, and I consider him kind of a conspiracy, or not, you get what I'm trying to say, like
Oh,
a
look, I support Zach.
free thinker. I think he's a free thinker.
I
Like,
support
we're all
Zach
in
Hubbard on Patreon,
Yeah,
but there's a
true,
rumor.
true.
There's a rumor that his real name is Josh Greenberg, and he was some
No
developer who
way.
faked his death like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Have you heard this one?
I haven't, but he confirmed on a stream last night that I let play while I went to bed, and I don't know how these guys are not drinking 5-hour energies. Or maybe they live in LA and I live in the Midwest, but I will start a stream at 10 o'clock, right? And that thing will go until 4 in the morning, and I'll just have it on. Either way, who cares how long people can
Look,
stay?
he's a
But
he's
Hubbard
a
was on.
he's a gematria. So for people who don't know, Hubbard traffics in gematria, which means he calculates the value, the numerical value of words. Like fake, for example, fake would be 6, 1,
I love
11,
his book.
5.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I have his book in my arsenal.
And then so it's
I
like
I respect it.
well, there's the problem with it is this. I don't believe you can use it to make prophecies. How come he's not rich off of horse races like Biff Tannen money? Think about it.
For sure, for sure. Okay, yeah, exactly. No, yeah. Okay, so that same thing. So I did when I learned about numerology. I could type in the word Vikings versus Broncos. I would just use the word Vikings, use numerology to get my numbers for each letter, add them up, right? And then I could have Buccaneers or whatever team, and then do my gematria or my numerology for that, right? And then you have reverse numerology, which I went this schizo. I went into being, okay, first, second, third, or fourth, there's 4 quarters. How betting works, you can have over-unders, you can have all these things. So my thing was I would total each team up. There was going to be a total. You're going to have a total. There's going to be a difference between the 2 teams. And then what I would do is use Vikings, Buccaneers. I can't do it off the top of my head. If you have it on screen, there's going to be a number that separates the 2. And then you're going to see on Sunday a spread, right? It's going to be an over, like this. There's going to be a spread, not the 100 or the 5 number. There's going to be like a point differential.
So you're adding up the numbers of the teams,
Yeah,
and you're coming up with some
yeah.
calculation as to what the score is going to be the next day. And how accurate is this, if ever? Is it broken clock?
To me, it shocked me enough where I did do it 2 weeks. This is fucking 20 years. This ain't 20 years. It's early TK. Very early, and I still like everything was still normal when there was one of my first like, oh my god.
I think look,
gematria work.
the thing is,
and I would do it.
there's a trick here, and gamblers fall for it all the time. There's some trickery here, and it's just the fallacious use of data to present the illusion.
There's only 32 teams. They all play each other a certain amount of times. So now Vikings, Buccaneers, they played and had a certain score last year, right? If they played, and then 4 years ago they played. Now you're gonna say there's a date that they played. Okay, there was there's gonna be a difference of date being February. Or not February, but November 16th.
This sounds vague. This doesn't sound very much
That's
like.
That's what I'm saying. So you can never. That's why I say that shit. You can never do it with betting too much. You can like start your bet with it, because then I would be like this. Oh my God, it's so close.
Okay, wait.
And
Don't you
then
see, like,
Go ahead.
wouldn't God have a problem with people using Kabbalah, the sacred language of the angels and God and its
Yeah,
holy stuff,
yeah, yeah.
to gamble, to win on the lotto? Like, that sounds like
Exactly.
a denigration of something sacred. It's almost like blasphemy, if you ask me.
It's a wild game. What I gotta say is this: can you? Sorry to talk on the phone. Could you? I mean, excuse me, no disrespect.
Yeah, put a mask on. Put a mask on. Don't cough. Don't
What
cough
it
into
was
the phone.
what I think is this. There is something there. There's a there. I hate that term. It's like saying it is what it is. Like it is what it is. I fucking hate that. That's another thing that we probably don't like, but it comes off so easy to say. Like there's something, but you just can't see it. Now, will I live my life on it? Now, there's going to be such a stupid analogy, and I'm coming off of this honestly very now, and how my brain's working, how fluid I'm being now in this
Okay,
moment.
I think we've covered the gematria enough. I mean, there aren't any
Well, no,
people.
for sure.
There aren't any people who are like real Is Zach Hubbard a magician? Is he a ceremonial magician? Is he into the Kabbalah? Like, what qualifies one? Like, is there a certificate? Like, oh, I got my certificate in gematria. What certifies you? Like a math teacher? Like, is there some qualification?
Didn't Marty Leeds give it to you if you bought his book, you got like a little bumper sticker.
I'm just
Remember the
saying.
bumper sticker that Marty Leeds would send you? That's your certificate.
I'm just saying. It's like
You just gotta know.
It's like
I know, I'm kidding.
It's like some kind of internet made up nonsense. And look, I don't have time for any of this stuff.
It is.
And it's like I'm just
Yeah.
saying, unless you're some kind of Kabbalistic wizard, what are you doing calculating numbers and letters and unless you're doing wizardry?
It won't work.
Are you out
It's
like
a there,
look,
there,
no, no.
you can have fun with.
Is there there isn't a there. There's a logical fallacy there. It's called Texas sharpshooter. Texas sharpshooter fallacy. That's the only
exactly, random shots. Me and you we could walk in the room and go like this. One of us are gonna fucking win this game of pool tonight. Yeah, obviously. Yep. Sure. It's something like the bullshit like that. If I say you're gonna use it with gambling or fucking.
It's also a cult.
Numbers.
Look, if the same people who use gematria to say Hollywood is evil, etc., they're actually practicing a form of witchcraft. It's like you might as well use a Ouija board.
So
Use a
what
Ouija
do we
board.
do? Okay, so now you know. Right now, I can feel where you're going with this. What can we say then? So that means you're going to tell me that personalities and or zodiac or all that. Are you going to tell me that there's nothing there? Because I don't mind going back and forth with you, but we know there's, like I said.
Okay. Let's talk about this.
People.
You're talking about divination, for example. But see, the mechanism of divination or augury, it's the same basic mechanism whether you're reading the spilled entrails of a bull or reading sticks thrown on the ground or runes or tarot cards. But it's not about what I'm saying is that it's the practice of free association reading into random phenomenon is not new. But it doesn't mean that these things are intrinsic. Like, there's nothing intrinsically magical about a gematria calculator or tarot cards, in my opinion. And I just don't know why truthers are so like superstitious. And like you might as well use you might as well use a Ouija board. You might as well use a Ouija board to predict who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Sure. I got one I bought from Salem, Massachusetts too, and I haven't even opened the box. I'm not much of a pussy.
Well, you should watch.
Like
you should. Hey. You should watch. You should watch. You should watch Yellow Jackets on Netflix, because.
Yeah, so I watched season 1.
Did you like the scene with the Ouija board when they summoned the spirit? I mean, you should try it.
I can't remember. I liked it. I was very much into that show. I was like, this is
it might be more accurate than Zach Hubbard. But anyway, I appreciate the call very much. What was
always Tim?
Yes, thank you for calling, and call back anytime.
You stop it now. Can you? Hey.
Sure. Yes, I'm still here.
So handsome in that damn desk in that fucking new situation. I can't remember the situation that we used to have whenever we talk, but you in that desk.
Okay, well, have a great night. Thank you very much. Why does that guy sound like The Rock? Does anybody else get this? He sounds like The Rock. And by the way, I happen to think that the rock is the rubber. I mean, if you're worth that much money, you're not going to destroy your heart and die young by using all those, drugs, human growth hormones, steroids, etc. And I would imagine that in order to preserve his life, he would just wear one of those rubber bodysuits. And I watched one of his movies, and I'm pretty sure he's wearing a rubber bodysuit. I'm not saying he's a beanpole beneath it all, but I'm saying that he's definitely enhanced. That he's wearing like rubber arms, rubber chest, rubber abs, rubber legs, rubber calves. He's probably rubber, like neck down. Does anybody else agree with me that The Rock is like 90% rubber? All right, let's continue here. Jennifer says, I live within driving distance of Salem. Yeah, the caller's a regular. That's Tommy King. He's a great supporter of the channel. He's read all the books, and he's just been making the rounds tonight. I wanted to get his take on the status. What is the state of flat Earth in 2025 now? Now that the final experiment has concluded. It's just amazing how little anybody cared about it. And what it comes down to is all they did is they went down to Antarctica and they burned a straw man. Pointlessly. They burned a straw man. Like good for you. You destroyed a model that nobody believes in, but the media misattributes this model to those who say that the Earth might not be a ball or NASA's a big fat liar. Well, just because I'm calling out NASA and SpaceX as liars doesn't mean I believe we're on a pizza disc. It means that NASA is lying, and I don't trust them about how they represent the real estate. And when you get into the subject of models, why should it be either ball or flat if the ball model isn't even complete? If you consider that space travel has been faked, it's been simulated, they show us cartoons and all forms of fakery to represent our cosmology in a certain way. And so our cosmography has been, I believe, misrepresented because I don't trust their version of outer space. I'm saying space is fake, as far as we know. Now, if you know something I don't, fill me in. But I have not seen evidence of fakery. I mean, of anything but space fakery. Everything we're shown from space is questionable. So what is our evidence of real space travel? And there are people who are raising good questions about the integrity of the moon landing and stuff, but like Bart Sobral talking to Candace Owens, but you'll notice they never go beyond that. They never talk about real-time fakery because all the nations are involved. It's like truly the biggest scandal. So again, the final experiment, nobody cared. And I kind of think that the response has been deplorable for a lot of these people to just attack the so-called flat earthers as though they're all attached to some model that nobody believed in. That's why I said it's a straw man. Because what the so-called flat earthers, and I use that in quotes because there really aren't any, what they represent are agnostics, people who are questioning things. So it's really a question, not a model. It never was a model. And the question has not been answered. And I'm also noting that the way they carried out the final experiment has only made the questioners increasingly suspicious. I mean, it's quite an achievement. It's quite an achievement to go to the South Pole with a bunch of your friends, record the whole thing, and come back and people not believe it. Like, it should be self-evident. And so the whole thing is just, to me, just very sus. So I have no problem, I don't feel bad just dismissing it with a hand wave. I'm hand waving away their so-called experiment. All right, Owl says, Flat Earth Dave Fed is obviously a plant, saying some truth, selling a Trojan Horse app. Well, Flat Earth Dave, technically speaking, is a liar. He used to call me after live streams to tell me not to say 9/11 was fake because he saw the planes hit the building. Well, there weren't any. So what did he see? And he doubled down and he claimed that his best friend was an EMT that day who was traumatized from dodging falling bodies and spends every day talking to a shrink. So he said, please, in case she's listening, don't say this stuff. And I'm like, who is this guy to call me up after live streams and try to tell me what I can and can't say? And then I learned about gatekeepers and feds and how they guardrail conversations. But I don't know. I mean, there are times listening to him where I think he might be a true believer. And I don't know if he's deliberately ignoring things that might contradict him, so he's kind of in a self-imposed delusion, or if he's just a hardcore grifter and he's just playing the numbers, recognizing a certain number of people are just going to go with him. I don't know. But there are some times where it seems like he legitimately believes what he says. Salty says he looks like an animated corpse. That was the first indication something is wrong with him. Jay Nelson says Tim is a serial denialist. He even denies Mothman. Now, there are no denialists when it comes to like Mothman or chemtrails or whatever it is, generally speaking. Like they call you a climate change denialist. If they're going to call you a denialist, they can only do so if they provided a substantive burden of proof. If they didn't and you don't believe it, you're not denying it because there's not something to deny. Show me a chupacabra. You know, I'm agnostic about it. I think that the best explanation for what are they called? Cryptids is to go with the mundane. Like, what's more likely? Like, I believe I've solved Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a bear. A lot of bears walk on their hind legs. Whether you're looking, I mean, just randomly, you've been to the circus, bears can do this. They can do a lot of things, but walking around the woods, a bear would look like Bigfoot from a distance. And I think that would be the most likely explanation. Constant backwards hat is another tell, says Lean Dion. Yeah, a lot of shills have backward hats and neck beards. And I noticed, like, okay, so if you look at Nathan Thompson and Witsit Gets It, like they all look like they came out of the same vat, the same like breeding. Is there like some kind of a cloning factory for shills? Because yeah, I see a lot of neck beards and backward hats, ODD, TV, and I think this is something out of the manual. You know, they have a manual, these intelligence agencies, like how to gain the trust of the people on the street. You got to rap to them. Like, I don't know if you remember, but when the whole flat earth thing started, it seemed like you weren't a flat earth channel if you weren't rapping about it. And I'm not against rap, but it seems like a lot of these people were just like told to do it. Like it's they seem like feds rapping. And like they were given these lines, and these lines were like dreamed up in some department where they're trying to figure out how to relate to these younger people or this target demographic. That's the feeling that I got. All right, let's see. Owl says, I think Eddie Bravo is legit and cryptids are just people or animals. Yes. Well, Eddie Bravo is a flat earther who is also a major QAnon person, which is kind of interesting. I don't know much about him other than his show on Rockfin. He does a lot of interviews. Standard MSM truth, not an auto hoaxer. I don't hold that against people. Although he did turn down money to go to Antarctica. He said he didn't want to get shot. So he fell for that psyop. Well, the ice wall is guarded by the Navy. And if you go to the ice wall, they'll shoot you. It's like, then go. You know, take one for the team. Live stream it. Imagine, you know, someone really brave. You know, like Mark Sargent, just marching out there to the ice wall on a live stream on TikTok. He walks out there with his hands up. See what happens. But no, it took 10 years for somebody to do it. And it happens to be some 33-year-old preacher who was given, this job of nailing the coffin closed. And, you know, we'll give him that. You burned a straw man. Good for you. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't address media fakery above or below. And you can't talk about media fakery above as though it's separate from the fakery below. Faking space, faking mall shootings, faking mosque shootings, synagogue shootings, school shootings. There are so many ways that they terrorize the populations. But psychological operations are the rule, not the exception. But the special effects department that's responsible for manufacturing our Truman Show operates above and below the Kármán line. If you just look at the media fakery on the ground, but you believe the space news, you're 1 foot in the matrix. If you think everything in space is fake, but on Earth some of it's real, and people do get shot in these events, you're 1 foot in the matrix. If you're not auto-hoaxing in 2025, you're wasting your time. You should just watch Netflix for entertainment at this point. Why would you run around with a skewed perspective, chasing red herrings, and engaging with toxic agitprop? Like, unless it's entertaining for you. Like, I can speak flippantly about